back. It's your favorite podcast of the week. It's Location Weekly, and we are recording on May the 2nd. Yes, we are now in May. Spring is here. Flowers are popping up everywhere, and we have another show for you. But first, Brianna, how are you?
I am good. Like you said, it's spring. We had a beautiful weekend here in New York. Lots of outside time, so grateful for that. And just jumping back into the week. So it's rainy
Right.
outside. At least I don't feel like super sad to be back in. How are you?
Yeah, we've had like a run of sunshine, like 5 straight days. We got a bit of rain last night. It's kind of like overcast today with kind of half and half today. No rain, but it could rain at any moment. I don't know. That's kind of what it feels like, but we'll see. Yeah, so, but good overall. Yeah, we've got a good show set up for you today. Four stories as usual. It's episode number 567, and we're going to kind of go all over the place in types of tech and things today. So I don't even know. Like usually there ends up sort of like unplanned a theme that kind of runs through. Like we talked about all the stadium stuff, last week and whatnot. This week I
Mhm.
feel like it's kind of a mishmash of stuff. So I'll let you
A
kick
little
us off.
disparate. Yeah. Well, let's start in the QR code area. And Revlon is, trying to tout that they are the first beauty company to use this technology to deliver sequential messaging and promotional offers through QR codes. So they have partnered with a company called Activate Me, which is ACTV8ME. And they have an advanced solution that they're calling SQR code solution, and that is integrated right into your iOS and Android wallets. So if you use Apple Pay or your Android wallet pay with Google Pay, it's integrating right there. So they are using different features like geolocation, time-based reminders, all of this more personalization opportunities. And they did this recently on their Color Stay Skin Awaken Concealer campaign. And in this effort, they actually had like branded trucks that were driving around in various cities, kind of touting out this new product that they're launching. And really, they were focusing on having the QR code there, and then customers could engage with it from there, and then kind of go on this journey where they could do virtual shade matching. They could have all these different like shoppable opportunities. It would be tied into maybe retail locations that they could get the actual product based on their location. Different redemption offers that they could take to the retail partners' locations. So all these different things. And, like to me, this is not anything groundbreaking. But what I like about this is that Activate Me is thinking about this in all different shapes and forms, right? So whether it's out of home with the QR code, which they did here, kind of having that sequential messaging where it's step one, they see the truck, step two, they actually scan and go, is one part of it. And then the other part of it that I like, and there's a lot of different areas that they offer this SQR code feature and product is television. And I think TV is great because television traditionally has been very complex to measure in terms of efficacy. And I really like this because it is very deterministic, it's very data driven, and it's measuring, the efficacy of a campaign, like which campaign did they see, and even the ability to like tailor QR codes, obviously, and make them very not typically in television you're not going to have like a one-off unique QR code, but there are capabilities when you're delivering those maybe through email or text message to make those very unique and be able to know like how they're able to be used. So overall, I think we're seeing more and more QR codes, that application pop up today. I like how they're applying it in advertising. I think it makes sense. Kind of like scan and save for later, if you're interested in a product, especially from television, you're not really clicking on TV very often. So I think there's a good opportunity here, with Revlon being the first beauty brand, great. I think, lots of beauty brands like L'Oreal are always trying new things as well, but nothing super groundbreaking for me. But I would like to see how um, how this works into the efficacy of a campaign, because there's a lot of information and data out there on how many times a consumer actually needs to see a campaign or see a brand to be aware of it or actually take action. So this would be, interesting to see how does this play a role. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I echo a lot of what you've already said. I think, what I like about the Activate Me platform, the SQR piece, is that, there's some, pretty, what appears to be pretty robust campaign management and attribution tools sort of on the back end of this thing, which makes it easy to sort of manage content and campaigns and all that kind of stuff. So I like that aspect of it. From a geolocation point of view, theoretically it means that you could have different content at different times of day. So like even the same individual that's coming in contact with an SQR code in one place or one out of home place, and then they're back at home, watching TV, as you pointed out, could have a different engagement, a different ad, that's more sort of time of day sensitive or things like that, and location sensitive. So I like that aspect of it. You're right. I think the TV applications are big here too, because there's it's been a difficult medium, right, to try and get that one-to-one engagement. We've talked over the years on the show about some of the work that Shazam used to do in TV commercials, and kind of creating that sort of engagement, going from the big screen to your mobile phone, and then sort of carrying that data with you as you went into the real world and maybe came near an Old Navy store or something, that it remembered from the TV commercial, and then pops up the offer in a geolocation specific way. So I think there are a lot of applications like that become relevant here. And I'm with you. I think I like that they're playing around, not just in this Revlon case, but with multiple mediums. I know they Activate Me also has a new partnership with Captivate, which is the originators of the Elevator News Network and things like that. So having them show up in office tower elevator screens and all kinds of different places, I think the more you can get this out there into different mediums, the better. And that's obviously at the core of how we think about location, from day one, right? About it being something that, permeates every form of media in every place that you're at. So I really like it in that sense. So yeah, those are my thoughts. All right, on to our second story now. This one's kind of interesting. Came across this new mobile app that's out there called Anyline. And from time to time, we're if we have vehicles, we're all in the market for new tires, and trying to figure out your tire size and what you need, and what is available from different brands that can fit on your car with the right rims and all that kind of stuff. Can be somewhat challenging. If you're like me, you go to your local tire guy and he checks it out and he tells you, or she, and tells you what you need, and that gives you a few options. But this is kind of interesting. So this app that they've come out with, Anyline, basically you just take your phone with the camera and you scan the coded information that's on the tire, like the 35R16 or whatever it is, and all of that with it. There's a number that's on there usually, and it basically has behind the scenes a database of all of these things. It comes back with information and tells you and links you up to with the right size and dimensions for any vehicle, any tire, and then you can go directly to a sort of online shopping environment where it shows you the options and you can purchase your tires and do all of that. So I think it's kind of cool. It's not something I'm going to be using every day, but it's certainly something that I think is a great way if you're a tire sales retailer, or an online tire retailer, or what have you. This is a great way to sort of partner up with these guys and drive more eyeballs and more traffic and potentially more revenue. From that point of view. And I think from a consumer perspective, I'm not sure how you promote this out to consumers to let them know it's there and make it something that we're all going to have on our phone. but I see the utility in the times when I need to do this, which is typically, every few years I'm replacing tires or, swapping tires winter summer, those kinds of things. But could be something there. What are your thoughts?
So, my mind immediately goes to like where the application use cases for scale. And for me, I think about the past few times that I have bought tires, and I mean my husband. Um, so, the past like two times that we've bought tires, he's actually gone to Amazon, bought the tires that he needs, and then they ship them directly to the place that will put them on. And he just drives the car there and has an appointment already. So I feel like with all of the AI technology that Amazon has already built in for like, picture this in your room, see how it fits in your space. This to me is a very seamless opportunity to integrate with an app that has such massive reach and continue the, driving the adoption of like buying your tires on Amazon. So I think for me, like that's a better use case versus as a consumer figuring out that this app exists and downloading this app for the, one time every couple of years that I might be, or once a year, depending on where you live and how often you drive, that I need to buy, new tires. So for me, I think that like, I like this technology. I love the idea of it, but it needs to be incorporated into something larger. So I could definitely see, a larger company with some type of acquisition here, maybe a Walmart, even Tire Center, Costco, like all of those places could be.
Auto Trader, something. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's a way to get it out there.
absolutely. Yes, for sure. All right, skipping
Yeah.
to another topic since I was bringing up, Costco and those things. Let's go to Sam's Club. And I'm kind of like still in the auto area. We're talking about electric vehicles, and Sam's Club is now actually rewarding EV drivers, and they're doing that with a rewards program. So a couple of months ago, they launched a rewards program called Sam's Cash Rewards. And they are rolling this into that as a larger piece of their cash rewards. So now shoppers that are using their Sam's Club MasterCard can earn an additional 5% back in Sam's Cash. So total of 10% cash back for the entire month of May. It just launched yesterday. Whenever you're paying for charging stations in the United States. So this is, they say eligible charging stations. Apparently there's about 50,000 that are eligible. So you have a pretty good chance. If you're paying for, for a charging station, perhaps at, an Amazon Fresh, retailer, Walgreens, Hannaford, supermarkets, or some that they mentioned, that you could use your MasterCard, get that cash back. And, this is like possible because they have this partnership. Sam's Club has this partnership with Synchrony. And they're a financial services company that connects partners and consumers with a variety of different financial solutions and capabilities, and hoping to deliver these omni-channel experiences is what they're touting. For me, I think loyalty programs are complicated a lot of times. And when you can use them for specific things, it's like, oh, great. Do I have the time to actually discover how to use them, how to use this specific card, how to apply it, all of those things? It overwhelms me a little bit. I don't know about you, but I have some friends and family that will say like, oh, I went on this vacation because I had all of these points for this and I used this for the hotel and this for the flight and that. And to me, that just seems very taxing and overwhelming. I'm like, okay, I have my American Express for Delta. I use it for Sky Miles. That's like the only reward that I really feel like I'm invested in because it's just simple and straightforward. Or the hotels.com loyalty programs, like you stay 10 nights, you get one free. So for me, sometimes this gets a little complicated in saying like, oh, I can use this here and get this reward. I can use this here and get this reward. I have to kind of divvy up what I use, which credit cards, when and where. So I applaud the effort. Like it's good, but how much are we really talking about it is enough to make me change my behavior, get this specific card? I don't know. I think that the crux of loyalty programs for me has to be like what is simple and what can just be automated to where I just get those rewards without even knowing about it, or I get an alert about the rewards if I just do this month. I don't know. I think simplicity is the way to go. And this doesn't seem overly simple, but maybe I'm missing the point.
Yeah, no, I think, I somewhat agree with you. I think for me, one of the challenges here is if the goal is to, support the growth of the electric vehicle market and, people who are, sort of buying into that early on and embracing, electric vehicles, the reality is you need to charge, right? And so there's, according to the article, there's 50,000 charging stations across the U.S. at the moment. At Amazon stores, at Walgreens stores, Hannaford, Walmart, Sam's Club, etc. So Sam's Club's got 600 locations in the U.S. And so if I'm thinking about that, I'm going, from a driver point of view, I've got an electric vehicle. I'm driving on a road trip, for summer vacation from, Atlanta to New York, whatever. I'm sitting there going, well, am I going to go out of my way to find a Sam's Club to sit there and charge my vehicle because I know I'm going to get, rewards? Probably not. Like, I mean, like at the end of the day, I'm just looking for somewhere to charge, like, and if I need a charge, right? So I don't know that that's going to be the driver for me. I get that they want to try and incent people to do that, and I don't know what it's. I can't do the comparison because I live in Canada, but and we don't have Sam's Club anymore, but we do have Costco still, and I can tell you like people line up here to get their gas at Costco because it's always cheaper than getting your gasoline, at a regular, Esso or Shell station or whatever. So, I look at that and go, okay, so if there's a cost savings to charging, and a reward, maybe that drives, more traffic. I don't know, but like I have a hard time thinking, this is going to change my pattern of where I go to get a charge, and I think that should be the focus, right? And then if you can get me there and reward me, then I'm happy, right? Because you're giving me something extra. But you got to figure out how you're going to get me there first. I don't think a reward on its own is incentive enough.
No, I completely agree. And I always say the same thing to my husband. He's like, we'll go to Costco or something like that to fill up with gas. And he says, well, the line's always like 30, 40 minutes, it takes to sit there to get up there. I'm like, that long? And I said, at that point, how much are you really saving? Is it worth $5 of your time to sit in that line unless you can be on a phone call or be doing something else in that time? Otherwise, no, just
Yeah,
go fill up wherever you can. So it's like, what's the cost and the reward? And I also wonder, is the demographic or the buyer persona that drives an electric vehicle the same person who is shopping at a Sam's Club? I'm not sure that it is.
yeah, that we don't know, right? And I think that's a very valid point, right? And I think you do need to look at those audience profiles and cohorts, right, and personas to figure out is this a good fit, right? Because I can tell you like my daughter who's 19 and drives and whatnot and is always talking about electric vehicles and is in that demographic. I don't see her going around talking about loyalty programs and rewards, in the same way that maybe a generation older than her was clipping coupons and whatnot, right? So I think it is different, but we'll see. All right, on to our final story now. So we're going to shift over to the out of home space, and there's a company, relatively new company, out called Out of Home or OOH Trace, TRACE, and this was developed by Carlos Villadeval, who was the former CEO of Posterscope, big out of home company in Spain. And basically, what Out of Home OOH Trace does, it's a independent, so not connected to any of the big out of home companies, for proof of posting or proof of play. So the idea here is verification that you, as the advertiser or media buyer, that whatever ad you bought and format and all of that, that it's actually being played on the right screen at the right time, and actually being seen, and verifying that proof of play has happened essentially. So I think this is kind of interesting. What really piqued my interest around this story is I've been talking for years about the fact that there's so many different big out of home players, but as a advertiser, as a brand, or their agency or media buyer, I don't actually know, that especially with digital content, that when my ad's playing, or I'm not there to see it all the time, or things like that. So I think this is really interesting, and I think there's applications here for third parties as well, because if I'm let's say I'm building some mobile app and I want to and I'm doing some sort of ad placement within my app for a brand. Let's just make one up, BMW. It'd be great to know that there's also a BMW ad running on these screens over here, and maybe I can if that person who has that phone that's seeing the mobile ad for BMW happens to go by, maybe I can do a kind of 2-screen connected play if I have access to know what inventory is playing where. So maybe there's a third party sort of sharing of this data out for developers as well that could happen down the road. That I'm just thinking out loud, but I do like this. I think so it automatically tracks, verifies, and certifies that the right campaign is running in that time and place, and it's not more complicated than that. I think it's all about that proof of play. Service is currently available in France, Belgium, Luxembourg, Brazil, the U.S., Canada, and Spain through local partners. So that's a brand new initiative called Out of Home Trace. What are your thoughts?
Well, initially, I think that everybody's trying to get into the measurement space in some way, shape, or form. It's a hot area of the market. It's needed. And without diving into or understanding the methodology of how this company is actually doing things, it's a good time to be putting out solutions. What I think is unique here that I've seen is that they are touting the fact that they can also measure across like vinyl, paper, not just digital. So I have a lot of questions about how you measure that. But I think that in theory, measurement, it's a hot place to be. So if they can do something that's unique and no one else is doing exactly the same way, it's a viable field for growth for sure.
100%. So, all right. Well, that's our show for this week. You've been listening and watching episode number 567 of Location Weekly. We thank you, as always, for your time. Thank you for your feedback. For those who have contributed, if you have feedback, please let us know. If you have story ideas, we want to hear about them. Reach out to us. Brianna and I are easily found on all the different social media platforms you can think of. And we'll see you soon. And just a couple other little things I want to point out. I will be in Amsterdam on May 10th and 11th and 12th for the Geospatial World Forum, which is happening there. So if you're out in that neck of the woods, come out and say hi and visit in person. It's good to be back to in-person events. And lastly, I want to welcome a new LBMA member to the fold, Quadrant, which is a location data company hailing out of Asia, but all over the world. So we're glad to have Quadrant involved and part of the LBMA family. So that's our show for this week. So have a great week, and we'll see you next week, everybody. Bye.